They say the most dangerous thing in this world is a man with peace in his heart, because peace cannot be manipulated. Peace cannot be bought, controlled, or subdued, and when a man walks away from noise, from crowds, from shallow applause, from borrowed dreams, and chooses a simple life, he becomes a mystery to the world, and a threat to those who depend on chaos. That man was me. I wasn't always this way. I wasn't always silent. Once, I chased what everyone else chased. The promotions, the parties, the recognition. I wore the suits, shook their hands, played the roles. But somewhere in all that glitter, I lost the glow in my soul. So I walked away, I sold what I could, let go of everything that wasn't essential, and I bought a piece of land. Remote, quiet, forgotten by the maps, but remembered by the stars. It wasn't much, just a forest edge, a sloping hill, a patch of earth that no one wanted, but to MIT was sacred. I didn't come here to escape the world. I came here to find myself again, and on that land, I built something with my own hands. A cabin. Simple, wooden, imperfect. Each nail, each board, each creak of the floor, I knew them like I knew the rhythm of my own breath. There was no running water, no electricity, no Wi-Fi, no neighbors, just trees that whispered stories, winds that sang lullabies, and silence. A silence so pure it could cleanse the soul. Every morning I brewed my tea over a wood-fire stove, listened to the birds, and watched the sunlight slip between the leaves like golden rivers. I was alone but never lonely, until one day the SUV came. It was white, clean, powerful. It crunched over the gravel like it owned the ground beneath it. I knew instantly it didn't belong. Out stepped a woman, tall, sharp, glasses that covered her eyes but couldn't hide the judgment behind them. She held a leather folder tight against her chest, like a badge. Her heels clicked against the stones like a warning bell. She didn't knock. She didn't smile. She didn't introduce herself. She just pointed. This structure violates HOA standards. I stared at her. This is private land, I said. She raised a brow, not under the Homeowners Association codebook. I smiled gently. This property lies outside your HOA's mapped boundaries. I've checked twice. She flipped her folder open, pulled out papers, diagrams, rules. She pointed again. Your cabin doesn't have approved siding. Your mailbox isn't regulation. Your roof is too steep. Your grass is overgrown. I let out a breath. I didn't come here to obey a lawnmower. She didn't like that. This is a formal notice. If you don't comply, I'll escalate this. I nodded slowly. You do what you must, but I won't move. Her lips tightened. She took a step back, pulled out her phone, and said words I never thought I'd hear out there in the wild. I'm calling 911. I stood there, not angry, not scared, just disappointed. That even out here, in the woods, people carried the same sickness, control, power, fear of difference. The call was short. She spoke with rehearsed authority, like this wasn't her first time making someone small. And then she stood there, arms crossed, eyes daring me to react. But I didn't. I just sat back on my porch, sipping the last of my tea, watching the sky slowly stretch into noon. 20 minutes later, the police arrived. 2 officers, calm, curious. Their boots stepped cautiously, but not aggressively. I greeted them with a nod. They greeted me back. The woman rushed forward like a hawk to a carcass. He's squatting. This is illegal. He doesn't belong here. He's violating codes. One officer turned to me. Do you have proof this land is yours? I said nothing. I walked into my cabin, pulled out the folder I kept beneath my mattress, protected like gold, and handed it to him. Deed, surveyor maps, receipts. Every document stamped, notarized, and legitimate. They read through everything quietly, no words, just eyes scanning. Then the taller officer turned to her. Ma'am, this land lies beyond the jurisdiction of your association. It's legally owned and documented. This man is not in violation of any local or state code. Her mouth fell open. This can't been right. The officer handed her back her papers. It is. She tried to speak, tried to argue, but the law wasn't on her side. And this time neither was control. She left without another word, and I watched her drive away, tires throwing dust over my piece. I should have been angry. I should have been shaken, but I wasn't, because that moment was proof that truth, when rooted deeply, cannot be blown away. That night, as the stars blinked above, I sat outside. Firewood crackled, crickets sang. The world was back to stillness, and yet, something had changed in me. I had seen the face of entitlement. I had seen how the need to control can travel even into the wilderness, knocking on the doors of those who only wish to be left alone. She didn't know me. She didn't know what I'd given up to come here. She didn't know the nights I spent with blistered hands, building that cabin in the rain. She didn't know the years I spent drowning in a world that never listened, only to find breath in silence. But now, she knows I won't bow, and maybe, just maybe, others will hear this too, because this story isn't just mine. It belongs to anyone who's ever stood up against a system that told them, you don't fit. It belongs to everyone who's ever been told, you need permission to live. Let this be a reminder. You don't need a label to be valid. You don't need applause to be worthy. You don't need to obey a flawed system just because it's loud. You only need truth, and courage, and the will to say no more. So when they knock, when they demand, when they threaten to bring down everything you've built, stand tall, not in anger, not in defiance, but in truth, because there's nothing more terrifying to the world than a soul that cannot be moved. And if she returns one day, with another badge, another form, another demand, let her. You've already built your fortress not of wood or stone, but of principle, and that is unshakable.